All right, so we're about to. Whoa, what's going on? We're about to go over the practice test from Unit 9. Uh, like most of things this year, this looks totally different than it has in years past. Which is totally fine with me. All right, so on this was the first one. This is A is 1, B is 4, and C is 0. Okay, remember that it goes in like ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, now direction of opening. This is going to be opening up because a is positive. Okay, the AOS, well, that's x equals negative b over 2a, which is negative 4, 2 times 1, which is negative 2. Okay, so this would have been x equals negative 2. So this one, and as I don't know if y'all noticed when y'all were doing this that I actually found the vertex if you found the wrong axis of symmetry, if you did it the wrong way. But the vertex for this would have been negative 2, negative 4. And the way you find that is you take your x from your axis of symmetry and you plug it into um, the equation everywhere you see x, and that's how you would have ended up getting negative 4 right there. Okay, and if I were kind of you for tomorrow, I would kind of have like a little, like a kind of like a hot sheet, almost like a, not really a cheat sheet, but I would put stuff like this is the axis of symmetry. This is what you do. Like kind of condense your notes a little bit. Okay. I mean, it would just make sense. Okay. So when you find the vertex, so you use the x from here and you plug it in everywhere you see x in the original equation. So your vertex is going to be that same value that you found for the axis of symmetry. And then when you plugged it in, that's the y value for the vertex. Yeah. No, you plug it into this one. Yeah. Plus 4, no, times negative 2, because that's where the, yeah. All right. So for this one, A is negative 1, B is 4, C is 5. All right. Direction of opening. Well, this is going to go down. That's that one because A is negative. All right. For our AOS, X equals, huh? What? Oh, you were saying the answer? Okay. I'm sorry. I was, I know the answer, but I still have to work it out. Yeah, it is going to be positive 2. Okay. You're correct. Huh? Yeah. It just doesn't have, I mean, it just doesn't have my face up there. I don't know why. So, you know, I don't think y'all would be really upset if my face is not on the recording. You actually prefer my face on there? Okay. Oh man, I started to feel good about myself for a second. Okay, so now, so I'm going to use this equation, and everywhere I see an x, that's where I'm going to plug in my 2 to find my vertex. Okay, so when we do this, the negatives on the outside of the parenthesis, squared plus 4 times 2 plus 5. All right, so we end up getting 2, 9. 2, 9. okay, because this ends up being 9, and we had the x equals 2. I think this is where I had the issue on the key for the practice test. So I'm taking care of that. I know some of y'all did the same thing twice, and I was like, yeah, I know. I told you I'm taking care of it. Well, it doesn't scare. Well, just if something gets messed up, just remember Mr. Jeffries will fix it somehow. Okay, I'll make it better. Oh, we'll fix the boo boo. All right, the boo boo. Hey, hey, boo boo. All right. Now, this looks, I kind of like this one because I said, what are the 5 coordinates that you needed to do this? You only really needed to find one of the points. Yeah. You know how, like, when we were graphing the other day, we had like our X, Y, and we had to have 5 points. Technically, the only thing you need is the vertex. All right. So, because it's a multiple choice type question. So, on this one, A is 1, B is 0, C is 3, because there is no value beside X. There is no number beside X. Now, which means when we find the axis of symmetry, this is negative 0 over 2 times 1, which is 0. All right, so that's our X value. And for our vertex, we're just going to say 0 squared plus 3, and that's how we get 3. So our actual vertex is 0, 3. That's why this would have been that choice. Okay. Now, I'm hoping some of y'all saw that and like, oh my gosh, there's decimals in there. We've never had decimals in there. What is going on? Yeah. Yep. Yep. When I put the wrong choices on there, I actually, believe it or not, I have lots of old tests where all this stuff is coming from. And I saw one of my former students yesterday. I'm like, that's how I'm making my test. I'm putting the wrong answers up there from what y'all had answered the wrong way when I had y'all last year. And she's like, well, that's kind of smart. Huh? Yes, it is genius. Like an evil genius. Okay. Now, if you have the vertex of this and A equals 1, all right, now that meant, and this is where people that if you did not like the 1A, 3A thing, you probably had a hard time doing this one. Okay. So, like if we had this chart right here, okay, and this was our X, this was our Y, and our vertex was right here at 1 and negative 5. This value moves up with a ratio of 1A, okay? And if A is 1, we would actually have to say negative 5 plus 1, and it would give us negative 4, okay? Now, the bad thing about this on these drop down questions like this, yeah, I can't do a screen capture of the drop down choices, okay? But I know negative 4 is actually in there, okay? So, that's how that would work. And if you get kind of stuck tomorrow on the test, that's why I want y'all to do at least one time here with me. You could do another time later, that kind of thing. All right. So remember, now this is from stuff from last Thursday. So that probably is why it's a little lost. Our Y values right here move up with a ratio of 1A and 3A in this chart. So it says the next Y values. I'm talking about on this question because this is you have the same type question right here. It's actually talking about the next ones right there. So all you would have to do is take 1 times A, and our A is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1, and you add it to whatever that is. Okay, I could say A is 7, and you'd have to say, well, that's 1 times 7 is 7, and negative 5 plus 7 is 2. Yeah, just add it to that. Yep. Uh-huh. Well, this one right here, this value is actually negative 4, negative 4. Okay. Now, this next one that you're asking about, well, 3 times 1 is 3, so negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So that's actually how you get your Y values on that. Yeah. That's just that's somebody figured out, hey, the Y values move with this ratio. Yeah. Yeah. If it goes, it's 1 times A. So whatever A is. Yeah. All right. For this graph, the line would be dotted and would be shaded. I thought I said up. Is it up or above? Okay, up, down. All right, so it's solid. So this one would be dotted and then up. Okay, so and that's the drop down menu. The reason, remember, it's dotted because this does not have a line up underneath it, and it's shaded up because the Y is being eaten. Okay. The Y is being eaten. Yeah. And that's a Mr. Jeffries definition of that because basically the way you read that is Y is greater than X squared plus blah, 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 blah. So to me, it looks like the Y is being eaten by the inequality sign. So I'm like, that's how I just remember it. You're like, wow, that actually makes sense. Remember, I teach y'all about the same way I had to teach myself when I did this. So hopefully it makes more better sense. Okay, this one, this line would be solid because there's a line up underneath here. And it would be shaded down because the Y is not being eaten. Y is actually less than that graph. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. I don't even know what numbers these are. I just grab them. I maybe should start realizing what number they are. We don't, with that one, we don't worry about the X, but I'll show you how to do that individually later. Okay. I did a page I didn't need to. All right. So let's see. Yeah. So this is the next one. This is kind of what I went over yesterday. Um, remember I said that you use the quadratic formula when you can't factor these. Okay. Both of these you cannot factor. This one, there are no factors of positive 15 that add up to negative 5. So this would be the quad formula. Okay. We hadn't taught y'all how to factor something with a leading coefficient greater than 1. And this one's also prime. So this would also be the quadratic formula. All right. This one is actually factoring because you can subtract 18 from both sides, and that's easily factorable. Okay. All right. So it says when solving this by factoring, the answer is. All right. And I had somebody in fourth block yesterday asked a question because they were out on Monday when we went over this. But they, I'm glad they asked it because I looked at homework grades for both classes, and a lot of people were getting confused about what was the final answer. Okay. First thing we do is subtract 12. So we have x squared minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. Okay. Do our parentheses, x. And because that 12 is negative, our signs are going to be different. So I got a plus in one, a minus in the other one. Okay. What are the factors of negative 12 that when you combine them, you get positive 4? Or negative 4, sorry. Our 2, yes. So this one would be a positive 2 and a negative 6. Now, your actual answer for this, yes, it's the opposite signs. And that's what a lot of people missed on the homework the other day, which I'm glad, homework is practice. The grade doesn't count as much. The actual answer is going to be negative 2 and positive 6. And I can't remember which one goes where, but it's in there. Some of y'all, because of these masks, you've gotten really good about judging me with your eyes. There's a few of you that just, y'all want me to start pointing them out? I think three of the people really know. Because as soon as I said something, they all kind of popped up. Okay. And some people are still asleep. Okay. Or checking their Instagram or the Twitter or the Snappy Chat or the Tic Tac. All right. So the discriminant, remember, this is the b squared minus 4ac, and we're actually wanting that value right there. Okay. So this is a is 1, b is 4, and c is 10. So all I do is plug this in. All right. And this is 16 minus 40, which gives us negative 24. Okay. Now, all the other odd choices are if you plugged in stuff wrong. So when I'm just asking for the value of that. Now, because that is a negative, if we were actually doing the quadratic formula of this, you would have I in the answer because we have the square root of negative 24. Okay. And I was talking to another teacher earlier today, and I said, yeah, that we, start introducing I now because it's part of our standards. And that they're like, how did that go? I said, oh, it went fine. I said, they understood that really well. I said, what really threw them off was when I could reduce the radicals really quick by using the calculator. I said, that blew their mind. All right. As I said yesterday, you only have one of these. It's the quadratic formula. Okay. So on this one, our A is 3, our B is 5, and our C is 10. All right. And the quadratic formula is this right here. All right. So when we plug this in, yep. That's okay. It's hard to remember what day is what anymore. It's 2020. It could be, November for Tuesday for all we know. Yes, I did just say November. That's actually from a Rugrats episode. All right, so 5 squared minus 4 times 3 times 10 gives us negative 95. Okay. Now, I put these on here because used to, when you try to take the square root of negative, we used to say this was no solution. That's actually not a thing anymore because now we know about imaginary numbers. Some people would chose this because they would have been like, oh, that's what I got on my paper. But this is actually not the answer either. Excuse me. The reason why this is the answer is because we can take the I out right here. And the square root of 95 is just the square root of 95. So that's how we would actually get that one. Okay. So, and I'm telling this in class, letting y'all write it down. Recording. I will still have people the first time that they take a test, if this is on here, they'll choose no solution because you're human. You almost did that? Yeah. Yeah.